All right, folks, I'd like to call to order the Township of Lopatcong meeting for March 1st, 2023. I would ask that everyone please bow your head for a moment of silence. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Ledger and the Express Times, Warren County Zone, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Councilman Del Caro.
Here.
Councilman McQuaid.
Here.
Councilman Polito.
Here.
Council President Wright.
Here.
Mayor Mendici.
Here. We need a motion to come out of executive session.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, Mayor, we emerged from executive session, I believe 7:28 PM, where we discussed 5 matters. One was auditor matter dealing with finance. Another was attorney-client privilege matter dealing with police matter. Another was personnel matter dealing with the finance office. Next, another personnel matter dealing with the court. And finally, a personnel matter dealing with the DPW. No official action was taken. Copies of these minutes will be available at such time as the council determines there is no harm to the public interest.
Is John Mooney out there?
I did not see him. I can check.
Did he leave? He said he was going to be out
They
there.
went in the back office.
Yeah. Just 1 second, folks. Our auditor was here. Where the heck were you going? Back in the mayor's office? There you go. Okay. Yeah. All right, John, you're up basically to talk about the park and the shape we're in financially. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Good evening again. A few months back, we were tasked with the project of seeing if we could do a park project that would have zero impact to the tax rate as it stands. After several different models were run and several different amounts were considered, the most favorable, if we could call it that, was a park project that has an estimated cost of approximately $15 million. A $15 million park project would, we have found out a way in which we could make that work where you would not see any increase to the local tax rate to pay that off over a 25 or 30-year period. The one item that you need to consider as a governing body is what payback period do we want to consider. You have several items of debt that are out there existing as of 12/31/22. We have an aggressive plan to pay back the bond anticipation notes that you have. Your one serial bond that you have out there is a structured payment on an annual basis. There's nothing you can do to be aggressive to pay that down. You just pay it down as it comes. With those two pieces of debt, we've come up with a model where we can issue the $15 million and we can still see the tax rate being what it is for your portion of debt service from now until the end of the life of that bond, whether it's 25 or 30 years. So there is a way, there is a path. Part of the way is through use of your own surplus. And, you know, we spoke earlier, but with the public here, I just went back as far as 2017. And before 2017, or before 2018, 2017, your surplus was just under $1 million. And you've had amazing things take place You as governing body have put in policies that have helped this township tremendously over the last 5 years. And now you're seeing a surplus in the $6 million range. And the idea is to utilize those funds to help keep the tax rate flat when it comes to the payment of debt service for the park issue. You have been able to solidify different trust accounts. You have put away for storm recovery. You've put away for accumulated absences. You've created reserves for tax appeals. You've done a lot over the last 5 years. And you've put yourself in this position where you could take on a project like this and still not have an increase to the tax rate. So everything is still preliminary. My suggestion would be to get your bond counsel on board as quickly as possible, because they will develop the timeline of when everything would need to get done. Either myself or your CFO could reach out to them tomorrow, as early as tomorrow. I'm in touch with them all the time, so it's just no big deal.
That'd be fine as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, he would need to come up with the ordinance and spell it out, and then it gets introduced, adopted, and away we go. So this is budget season. I'm sure I'll be back to the introduction and the adoption of the budget. And if there are any questions at that point, if you want to consider it, think about it, talk about it, and then come back to me with any questions. You all have my contact information, so at any time you can give me a call if there's something you don't understand or need more explanation on.
I think it's something we need to move forward on. I think there were people that sat up here 50 years ago and got this thing, got the park to where it's at. 2006, we expanded it again. And I think now it's time to update and, get some new things in place there, really for the betterment of the people. Our pavilion is old, our pool is old, and there just comes that time, there comes a time when there comes a time,
Yep.
and the time is here. So if we can pull it off financially, obviously, as you said, we had $1 million 5 years ago, now we're at 6. We've righted the ship, we've righted our sewer budget, we've done a lot of things that most people don't even know, but it's great to have news like this come up. If it's okay with you other 4 guys, I would suggest that you get a hold of Drakewitz tomorrow.
Yep.
And away we go. So,
Good.
all right.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much. Have a great night. Thanks for
Yes.
hanging around.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
We'll be in touch.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment on agenda items only? Judy?
Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Good night, John.
Hey, John.
Is this an amended agenda that's here?
They're always amended and,
It's different than the one that's posted?
I don't think so. I think it's the same.
Okay,
But I add things up to the last minute, so I can't.
okay,
And I don't look at the past, so I can't tell you for sure.
okay. I just printed it today, and I think it's different.
Well, it could be, because I did print one this afternoon,
Okay,
so.
okay, so if my questions aren't on the agenda,
Okay.
it's just different, okay? So our agendas don't necessarily have ordinances on them, but I see that there's public hearings and second readings, so I want to ask on some of the ordinances that have those. So you can explain them. I can understand them. Okay. So number 2, ordinance, second reading, public hearing on CAP. What is that about?
That's basically every year you're allowed so much, and if you don't go up to your cap,
Yeah.
you can bank it for the
Okay.
next year or subsequent years. And I forget, I think it's, I wish the auditor would state.
Yeah, what are we
I think you might be able to-
capping?
You might be able to bank it for 2 years or 3 years, I forget what
Right.
it is. But basically, it's so, to avoid municipalities saying, always going up to the limit, because that's what you have to do, because otherwise you lose it. So what this does is if you don't go up to the limit, then it allows you to bank it.
Right.
So, and it's pretty much every municipality in New Jersey does it, just because you never know.
How far do we go to cap that we're banking? It says we're banking some? So what
I
did
don't know
we
what the-
do?
I don't know what the numbers are, but.
Does anybody know what the numbers are?
This is just allowing us to do it.
Oh, but we're not going to do it for sure, and we don't know what the numbers are.
I had the numbers.
Oh, okay.
So it says the township hereby determines that a 3.5% increase in the budget of said year amounting to $240,224 $1.78 in excess of the increase in final appropriations otherwise permitted by the local government cap law is advisable and necessary.
So that's 3.5%?
Yes.
Thank you. You're on my deaf side. You don't have a mic, so I had to clarify. I couldn't read your lips.
Fine.
Okay, ordinance for number 3, second reading and public hearing to establish chapter 86 entitled Business Registry. So that's establishing a registry for business rental unit and multifamily homeowners insurance certificate. That doesn't already happen.
No,
No, this
that's
is
new.
a state law, new state law that's requiring every municipality to require this.
So if you have a home business, you have to do this?
This is rental properties.
Oh, only rental properties. Okay. It said registry for business, but I guess a rental
For
property
business,
is a
rental
business.
unit, and
Gotcha.
multifamily.
Yeah.
And it's a state mandate, so we
Okay,
don't have a choice.
gotcha. Okay, thank you. Number 4, ordinance second hearing and second reading, public hearing, deleting Article 2 of Chapter 165 entitled Residential Maintenance of Properties and Foreclosure. What
Yeah, yeah, that's.
Another public law, but what is that going to
Yeah,
consist of?
what happened was the state allowed us to charge registration fees for, like, banks who were foreclosing on properties that weren't maintaining them. They would have to register each year, and then there's a sliding scale on the fee, and what it was meant to do is encourage banks to get the properties cleaned up and get them back on, sell them and get them back on the tax rolls, because we know when the economy was bad a few years back. So in any event, and that was a very helpful law, right? Because it got the
Sure.
banks to do their job.
Right? Mhm.
Now what they've done is this amendment, they changed the statute in the state of New Jersey to include commercial properties, because originally it only covered residential properties.
Okay.
So the state said you had to amend the ordinance, otherwise you couldn't enforce the old one with regard to residential unless you included commercial.
So this one is including just commercial, including also commercial.
Both, right. Now,
Okay.
the only unfortunate thing is they required us to reduce, the fees are reduced somewhat. But,
Oh.
and I thought the fees under the old scheme's a bad word, but were much more effective, because
Right.
they were going up substantially. So anyway, another state requirement says if you're going to do this, then you have to include commercial properties, which is good.
Yeah.
But the only
But the
problem was
fee's
they had
lower.
lowered the fees a little bit.
So does it cover our costs for maintaining these properties?
Well, we don't, if we maintain them, we put a lien on the property, and then when the property gets sold, we
Right,
get paid
then
that
we
back.
collect 'em.
But what this does is really, each year, the bank has to register, and then the fee goes up every year, and then it gives them an incentive to, hey, we want to continue to pay this fee.
So it's like a
So-
deterrent.
Right, or, yeah.
Financial
Or
deterrent.
encouragement to
Oh,
get them
or
to
encouragement
get
to
them
do
to
what
sell.
you,
Yeah.
right, to do what you need to do. Okay, thank you. I understand that now. So it includes commercial. Great. Number 5, I don't know if we're still on the same agenda. Second reading, public hearing, amending the supplementing chapter 243-87 entitled Powers and Duties of a Zoning Officer to increase fees for zoning permits. So is that all it is? Is
Yes.
the fees, we're not giving him more duties, like increase his hours so that we can enforce zoning?
Well, that could change year to year, but the permit itself, when somebody applies for a zoning permit,
Mhm.
it went from $30 to $75. It hasn't been updated.
That's a big jump, 30 to
Well, it
75.
hasn't been updated in 25 years, so it's
Oh,
not really a
okay.
big jump.
And not too big of a jump if it's 25 years. Okay. I see there's a lot of fees going up. Is that the same, 25 years? Ordinance, the first reading for cannabis, number 1, what does this say?
There is no.
There is none, that was taken off.
Oh, I'm sorry?
That was
Taken off the agenda.
Oh, so that
Yeah,
is
that's
the
not
change.
off. Yes.
No.
So that is off, meaning we're not even doing that. Or it could come up at another time.
Right.
Correct.
Off. Okay. I think I get the other ones by the little explanation. Number 6. So again, it wouldn't be your number 6. First reading to amend and revise supplement chapter 115 entitled Fees. Increase brush pickup and return check fees for insufficient funds. So we're charging more for our constituents on
Yes.
brush pickup.
Yes. it has
What is
to
that
be
increase?
What number is that?
5.
It's 500 new business.
Number 8, 2308. So, the resident is $50 and, the senior citizen's 50 and the resident's 75.
What was it?
25 and 50.
It was 25
$25.
to 50. And I'm sorry, what was the resident? 50 to 75? 50 to 75?
Yeah.
Has that been a 25-year lapse in going up?
It's been, I can't tell you how many years, but it's been, because it isn't 25 years old, this ordinance that we've established, so maybe 15 years.
But it's still free if a resident brings brush down to the,
That's correct.
on their
Yes.
own, if they have a truck and bring it on their own. So we're still providing a service for free. Okay, the next ordinance for number 2023-10, revise and supplement chapter 105 entitled driveways to increase permit fee. So just if you want to expand your driveway, the permit will cost you $100?
But there's variables that go along with that. So if somebody is going to change the footprint, then the cost, there's a separate application fee and there's an escrow. If you're just sticking with what your footprint is now, then it's $100.
Okay,
We have to cover all of our costs. Not every
True,
taxpayer,
right,
should
yep,
be
yep,
doing
yep.
all this.
so if your footprint is increased, it's more money and more
And it's an escrow.
paperwork what you have to do.
Yeah.
If you're topping your driveway, it's $100.
Oh,
If
so,
you're maintaining the same driveway,
right,
it's $100.
but not if you seal your driveway.
No.
Oh,
No,
okay,
you-
only if you get it dug up and resurfaced. Gotcha, okay. Because I was wondering if we're allowing people to expand their driveways across their whole front lawn, because I've seen that. I didn't know if that's what that ordinance was for. Consent agenda?
Yes.
The budget appropriation of reserves in the amount of, what is that used for?
That's just a transfer. We have a certain amount of months towards the end of the year and the beginning of next year to transfer within the year, that budget.
So that's
Budget.
so what's appropriation reserves? That's just money that sits there that we can spend as we decide we want to? Like, what does that do?
Let me just put it on.
Because I get surplus, but what is this? Appropriations reserve.
So we had to take from legal $1,000 and put it into engineering to cover those expenses in '22 for bills that came in after the end of '22.
So it's like moving a line item
We're just
kind of
moving
to
it
pay?
around. We're allowed
Okay.
to move it around within 70 months.
Okay,
You're allowed to start doing that like November 1st.
right, yep, I get that, I get that. I don't know if it's number 3 for you. Approved participation with Safe and Secure Communities Program? What does that provide for the public? What is that?
That's-
Is that like the night out and stuff like that?
No, that's
Oh.
actually a grant program we've been
Ah.
involved with for many years now. It offsets salary for police officers. So
Okay.
They give us X amount of dollars through the grant.
Oh, that's good, so it offsets covering those costs, wonderful. Pavilion fees, what did they go up to? Are we,
Well, they're different because there's different categories.
but are they increasing like a
They're
percentage?
increasing,
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just trying to make it simplified
By
for you.
about $50, for each.
Each one $50? Okay, okay. And the other ones I think were self-explanatory. Yep. So when an agenda is amended, do you write amended on it, or I should assume they're always amended?
I don't write amended on it now.
Okay, so I should assume that they could always be amended?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's a work in progress up until.
Okay.
Anyone else? John?
It's, I don't know if I'm going to be asking this properly, but, number 3, ordinance number 2023-02. Establishing, entitled business registry, establishing registry for business rental unit and multifamily homeowners insurance certificate. Does that have anything to do with our landlord now becoming a person, an interested person in our own personal renter's
That actually
insurance?
comes down from the state, correct, Beth? Business registry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a requirement from the state, so I guess there are people that were renting smaller unit, I guess, multifamily units that
Multifamily
didn't have
units.
insurance. So I'm sure something bad happened somewhere.
Okay.
And the state said from now on, when you're going to do that, you're going to rent properties, you got to show that you have proof of liability insurance. So God forbid there's some loss or something happens,
Okay.
you know, at least there's
So,
insurance.
so that us putting on our rental insurance, that also insures the landlord,
Well, the landlord has to provide this to show that they have coverage.
that they have coverage.
Right, and so it really, I think, yeah, not you, it would be the landlord has to show that they do it. So that
Right.
if, God forbid, a tenant gets hurt or a tenant's
Yes.
guests get hurt, at least there's, the
Yes.
state knows that there's liability insurance
So
to pay those
the
claims.
landlord will have a separate thing that would pay for it, or is he including the thing that the documents that we've had to give him for each one of our insurance carriers?
He's gonna have to, you probably have insurance for the interior
Yes,
premises, and they have to
yes.
insure the exterior of the premises.
Okay.
So they're gonna have to show that they have the adequate, the proper insurance as
Yes.
mandated by law.
Yes.
And then that really won't impact you as to what you
Okay.
do now, because that's, you just have to show
Okay.
that you have insurance for contents and stuff
And
like that.
then he can
inside.
show there's insurance
Right.
also inside that it covers him if anybody sues him for anything going on in our apartment.
Right,
And the
apparently there were landlords who did not have insurance or
Okay.
adequate insurance on their premises, so
Okay.
that's what the state's looking to do.
All right, thanks, Michael.
You got it.
Anybody else, comments, agenda items only?
I just left my notebook up.
Okay. All right, seeing any, we'll move into old business. Number one is approved minutes from January 4th, 18th, and February 1st, executive and regular sessions. Gentlemen, if you've gotten a copy of them and had a chance to read them, are there any corrections at all? Hearing and seeing none, I'll have a motion on number one.
Motion.
I'll second it.
And Councilman Valcarro,
Yes, with the exception of February 1st, I abstain from that.
Councilman McLean.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menounos.
Yes. Number two is ordinance number 2023-01. Second reading and public hearing to establish a cap bank. Have a motion open to the public.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Folks, questions, comments on number two? Motion to close?
Motion. Second.
Motion to act.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McLean.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menounos.
Yes. Number three is 2023-02. Second reading and public hearing to establish Chapter 86 entitled Business Registry, establishing a registry for business, rental unit, and multifamily homeowners insurance certificate. Motion open to the public?
Motion. Second.
Folks? Seeing none, motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
Motion to act on number three.
Motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McLean.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menounos.
Yes. Number four is 2023-03. Second reading and public hearing deleting Article 2 of Chapter 165 entitled Residential Maintenance of Properties in Foreclosure and replacing same to be consistent with PL 2021 C.444. Motion open to public.
Motion.
Second.
Folks, questions, comments? Motion to close.
Motion. Second.
Motion to act on number four.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McLean.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menounos.
Yes. Number five is ordinance 2023-04, second reading and public hearing amending and supplementing Chapter 243-87 entitled Powers and Duties of the Zoning Officer to increase the fees for zoning permits issued by the zoning officer. Motion open to the public.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Folks, hearing and seeing none, motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to act on number five.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McLean.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menounos.
Yes, under new business, number one is ordinance number 2023-05. First reading to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 93, Construction Code, Uniform, Section 3 fees to update the building, plumbing, electrical, and fire subcode fees. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro.
Yes.
Councilman McLean.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menounos.
Yes, number two is 2023-06. First reading to create Chapter 140 entitled Lead-Based Paint Inspections to require lead-based paint inspections in certain residential dwellings as mandated by PL 2021 C182.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Number 3 is 2023-07. First reading to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 119 entitled Fire Prevention, Section 119-10 entitled Uses to Increase Fees. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Number 4 is to approve pavilion rental fees for 2023.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes, ordinance number 2023-08, first reading to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 115 entitled Fees to increase brush pickup fee and return check fee for insufficient funds. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes, number 6 is ordinance 2023-09, first reading to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 105 entitled Driveways to increase the permit fee to $100. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Gentlemen, our consent agenda number 1 through 15, does anybody have anything in there they want pulled? Hearing and seeing none, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQueen?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. All right, council reports. Mr. McQueen.
I have nothing for you.
All right, sir. Mr. Belcarro?
No reports this month, Mayor.
All right. Mr. Polito?
No report this month. Thank you.
Mr. Wright?
The only thing I have is a few of the truck lots. The zoning officer was once again out to Bell and Howard, the old Twilight, reissued him more tickets because he's putting tractor trailers back there again. There was as many as 10 there over the weekend, last week or the week before. So I had him go out and issue him more summonses. And this time I believe he's asking for like a trial for him, is that correct?
We're going to trial, and, the judge, was cooperative the last time. I think this time, there's going to be a little bit more of a stricter,
Right.
Here. He's scheduled for court again, and, when
Which
he goes.
place? I didn't hear which.
Oh,
place.
what the where the parking lot is, where Twilight is.
Twilight, not the Eagle. Okay.
The Eagles under a 90-day, something to do in the 90 days isn't up yet. So,
Go ahead, Beth, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that they're going back to court again. He issued him tickets, and, the prosecutors would bring down the hammer.
The Eagle Coopers, they are moving out slowly. I don't know the date. I wish I knew the ending date that we have for him, but that should be coming up very soon. With the help of the chief, Bellevue Road has become a problem. Bellevue Road. 220 Bellevue Road. We had the zoning officer go out there as well as the chief, and that gentleman was issued 4 summonses on 12423 for a total mess back there. So he will be appearing in court on February 21st. Oh, what's that? No, take to appear.
I think it's next.
sure it's not March 21st?
And maybe that's more. I can't tell. Oh, no, that's when he issued the summons, I guess. I don't know, but he's due in next month, I believe. So he's been charged. He's got a real mess back there. The chief was out there today looking at the property. Anything you want to add, chief, on that? Or?
I can say that I spoke to the owner of the truck company, and they have about 20 trucks out there and trailers to go along with, and they're looking to have everything removed by April 1st.
Okay, great. So we're moving ahead. Wish it was faster than it is, but that's what we're dealing with. If you look at our website is actually growing in leaps and bounds. Kayla's doing a great job. She's putting up a lot of stuff on there. We're learning to master the new site. So You could take a look at that. There's save the dates on there. There's all kind of stuff coming on about a few different things that we have coming up in the future. And if you have any ideas, let us know. And that's about it.
All right, thank you. The only thing I have tonight is, social media is what social media is. Half the time, it's a bunch of uninformed people, in my opinion, that really don't know what they're putting out there. Now, one of the things that was put out there was that Mayor Mangucci said that there would be no enforcement of any laws on Belvedere Road because it's a county road. It is a county road. That's exactly correct. However, I know people are also big on pictures. And I have a picture here from last May 29th of our cops pulling over a truck on Belvedere Road. Here's another one on June 13th, 2022. If you're interested, I got these pictures. My lawn looks very nice in the June 13th picture. So feel free to come up and take a look at that. And then there was one, when did I take this one? From my living room window last Thursday at 12:37 p.m. So our cops are out there. I don't take pictures every time I see them pulled over. In my opinion, and it's not just because I live there, Belvedere Road's probably the worst. The chief could either confirm that or disagree with it. But we are pulling people over and we are issuing summonses. Again, I think some people are baffled as to what we can do. We can't weigh trucks. We don't know if they're over the limit. So until they get some signage up there, correct, chief?
We're still working with the county and others to get that rectified,
Yeah.
so we can enforce that, yes.
And I'm sure you've seen some of the things with the county. They've had meetings with the police chiefs. They've had meetings with us, with the mayors and other representatives from other townships. So they're working on it. They're trying to establish a truck route through Warren County that would push the trucks off of county routes and onto state and federal highways. So they're working on it. Again, nothing in government moves fast, but as you can tell, we're working on it. If you really want to jump on a cause and you want to get on the state, you want to get on the people, take a ride down 78. It's absolutely appalling to me, the amount of garbage that's along the roads. And it's not just the trucks, it's not just the cars, it's everybody. It's a societal thing. It's not trucks and whatnot. So 78 is absolutely disgusting, littered with garbage. So as I've said many times before, that's the kind of stuff that I would jump on. As for any warehouses or anything, I think if you want to be concerned about something, and I've seen a couple of things on social media where some people actually make some sense, where they've said what I've said for a long time. You want to be concerned about something. Be concerned about the fact these farmers are selling their fields for development of any kind. I don't care what it is, whether it be 500 homes out in Country Hills, 500 homes in Brinkley Park 50 years ago. Less farmers to feed people and more people living on this earth than ever before. That's what you need to be concerned about. How we handle truck traffic development as we've handled over the years, I think we've done a pretty good job of it. This township has grown my entire life. I'm 65 years old. I've seen the Rose Hill section, the Brinkley Park section, Warren Heights, Brinkley Gardens, Country Hills. They've all gone in. If I felt about development, or prior councils felt about development the way some of the people do right now, your houses wouldn't be sitting where they're sitting. My house was new at one point. Everybody has moved out here at different times. My family moved out here in 1947. My grandfather built a house out here. We were new at that point. It happens, and it happens all over. The warehousing thing is happening all over. I know you don't like it. I don't necessarily like it myself. It is what it is at this point, and we need to handle it the best we can. And the beating up that this council has gotten on the social media is repulsive to me. Get up, get out from behind your computers, and let me see your face, because that's really what I want to see. I'm fed up with it. We know what's going on. We all live here. We all drive here. And for the people that go up and down 78, let me tell you something. I'd be more concerned about that than traveling Strikers Road. So that's enough of my spiel for tonight. That's all I have. Paul?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to report to the council and members of the public a few things from the engineering side. First of all, I'm happy to report to the council that we received today a letter from the Department of Transportation indicating that we have authorization to bid the sidewalk project on Belvedere Road. That's with the TAP grant.
Speaking of not moving fast, let me interrupt you. This is what, 6 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And as I had previously reported, they increased our funding by roughly another $118,000. I had requested some more money due to the amount of time that had elapsed.
Yep.
And inflation, so we have almost $440,000. So I will be advertising that project for bid. We have 60 days from today to be able to advertise it for bid. So I'll be getting that done quickly for you. Baltimore Street, the improvement project between Strikers Road and Red School Lane, that is going out to bid, and we'll be accepting the bids and opening them on March 23rd. So your next meeting, I'll have a report on that. And if the lowest responsible bidder has been determined and is credible and complies with the bid documents, there'll be a contract award put on the agenda that night. Similar to that, on Stonehenge Drive and Jade Lane, we have some drainage improvements and some sidewalk improvements. It's a precursor to some more paving in that area of the town. That is out to bid. The bids will be open, I think, on the 16th of March, and we will have an examination of those bids and recommendations on award of a contract at your next meeting in April. Bellevue Road, as you know, we have picked up another grant for Bellevue Road between Strikers Road and County Route 519. And I worked with Kim, and there was funding to start the design effort on that. So we actually have scheduled the surveying work. I think it actually was supposed to start today. My guys may have been out there today. So that's the report on the capital projects for you. So quickly move and get the sidewalk project advertised for bid.
And that'll probably start this year, you think?
Oh, definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
Paul, just, how many roads are slated to be paved this year?
Working with Kim on the specifics on that. Right now, we've been talking some concepts and how much money's available. So I'll have a detailed answer for you at the next meeting on what those.
I don't know if we've necessarily picked any roads at this point, other than the ones we have the fund, the grants for.
Just backing up to Bellevue Road, is that part of the project?
Yeah, Bellevue Road, if we can get it designed fast enough, I believe we'll be able to build that in the fall. If not, the fallback will be first thing next year in 2024, which is what we did with the first phase. We did it very early last year. Baltimore Street will be done. It is out to bid. We have a DOT grant for that, and that project will be done this summer. So, and then obviously Stonehenge Drive between Buckley Hill Drive and where we left off last year will be done, and a piece of Jade as well. That will happen as well.
That'll happen this year?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, once we get the drainage work done and the sidewalk work done, we will have the co-op contractor come in to do the paving there.
Okay.
Paul, on Bellevue Road, the bridge there, right next to the fairgrounds, what's the weight limit on that? I mean, these tractor trailers are driving on that. Should
I
they?
don't know, I have to talk to the county, that's a county bridge, so I can get that answer for the next meeting, or well before that, I'll contact the county to get that answer. And we're gonna have to coordinate with them as part of the design of the project. They may want to see a membrane put over the bridge to protect it, so there'll be some coordination with them now that we're up and running with that. But I'll get that answer for you.
Okay. And how about the lights? Remember when you talked about lights on Baltimore Street for the walkers and stuff at nighttime? Have we heard anything on that?
It's really up to us right now. I
Oh,
talked to JCP&L, and we can install lights very similar to what Town of Hackettstown did. We can actually put the lights in, put all the conduit and the wiring in, and then put a meter cabinet and connect the electric service from the meter cabinet to the JCP&L service. And we would be billed based on how much electricity is used every month. So that is something that you have the ability to do. It was going to be very expensive, I think, to actually have JCP&L go in there and actually put the lights in that you would pay a monthly fee for. So it seemed it would be better if you actually installed the lights and had a meter cabinet put in as part of the electric service.
People walk down there, they walk their dogs.
It's very
at night.
dark.
It's very dark down there. So I've had a few complaints where,
Don't bring a flashlight.
but we wanted to look at it.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Paul, you got anything else?
No.
That's it? Chief, you got anything else for us other than what you've already?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Just one announcement. The Warren County Police Chiefs Association has sponsored a new program. The Lopatcong Police Department has adopted it as well. And beginning today, we will be stocking blue envelopes within the police department, and that's exactly what the program's called, Blue Envelope Program. And what it is it's for drivers with autism. So it's aimed to better the communication between police and people with autism, drivers with autism, specifically by explaining exactly what they can expect on a motor vehicle stop, as well as the police officer what to expect from the driver when they get pulled over. So all their credentials will be neatly put into the envelope prior to being stopped, and they can just simply give it over to the police officer without even communicating. Everything will be right here and better explained and better way to communicate. So if any of the community members are in need of this program, we'll have these at headquarters. You feel free to stop by at any time to pick one up.
Sounds very worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. All right, need a motion to approve department reports?
Make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve payment of bills?
Motion. Second.
Councilman Beltramo.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Brennan.
Yes.
Yes. Folks, public comment? Judy?
Aye.
Judy Liptak, 47 Kyle Drive. I hear your comments, Mayor, so you won't be liking my statement very much. However, I am someone who is active and an advocate, and I did write my letters to NJDOT. I sent one out just the other day about roads and intersections. Council, it is unfathomable to me that we are considering to build 2 more warehouses in Lopatcong. The process used to develop and adopt the redevelopment plan with warehouses lacks transparency. This lack of transparency throughout the process has illustrated deception by this council. The message this council is sending is we don't want to hear your input and we will do what we want and not what is in the best for our community. Your deception during the process has been demonstrated when you refuse to answer questions at meetings and choose to apply rules of decorum only to those who speak out against warehouses but not others. This lacks transparency. When you take over a year worth of requests from the public to finally post minutes and videos properly, that lacks transparency. When the public has to Oprah videos and minutes to get them, that lacks transparency. When email alerts go out in advance of an Easter egg hunt, but not for a public hearing on the adoption of a redevelopment plan or information sessions about building the warehouses at the mall and the farmland behind it, lacks transparency. When you pass an ordinance for no warehouses while simultaneously planning to build 2 more in a redevelopment plan, lacks transparency. When you deny knowledge of warehouses early on, when you deny knowledge of any warehouse plans that could be even thought of to be built on the mall, and it could only be a parking lot, followed by ignorant stares about knowledge of these plans, all while Powhatan and Lopatcong were moving ahead with plans to build those warehouses, lacks transparency. Having public information meetings with Powhatan after adopting the redevelopment plan with warehouses on it, lacks transparency. Going from no knowledge of warehouses in 1 month and full adoption of warehouses in a redevelopment plan shortly after lacks transparency. When there is no public input sessions for the redevelopment plans for the mall and the farmland behind it, this lacks transparency. When you are not forthcoming with information, like the second information session last week, both planners presented plans for Lopatcong and Lopatcong's warehouse at the mall on the farmland and on the farmland behind it. When asked if other options were discussed for different types of development on this property, we were given a few, but in that same sentence, they were discredited. There is no public input on possible alternatives for this land. That lacks transparency. When asked who the "we" was that discussed these warehouses and the options behind the options for the farmland, we were told the council had a subcommittee that has been discussing them. When asked how long those plans were being discussed, we were told well over a year. Who was on the subcommittee? When did they get approved by the council? When did they report back to the council? When was any of this openly discussed in public? That lacks transparency. When asked when and where these discussions were taking place, because there has been no open session discussions about warehouses before the adoption of the redevelopment plan on October 2022. We were told subcommittees from each council discussed them. Again, there was a lack of open public discussion by a subcommittee. That lacks transparency. Before adopting the redevelopment plans, which includes 2 more warehouses, when did this council openly discuss in public the warehouses? How can you approve plans without discussing them openly in public? That lacks transparency. Make no mistake, choosing to build 2 more warehouses on the mall and the farmland behind it was the only option you ever considered. The process has been deceptive, has lacked transparency, and has not been conducted openly with public input. These plans were in the making well before the redevelopment plan was made. The redevelopment plan was just the vehicle that made it all possible and justified this town's desire for more warehouses. This decision to build more warehouses in this area is the sole discretion of this council. And you could end it today. Peggy?
I yield my time.
No, we don't do that.
Yes,
You
we
did 5
do.
minutes.
We've
No,
done
do
it
not.
before. Yes, we
You
do.
have
We've
5
done it
minutes and you're
before.
done. You're done now.
That's my 5 minutes.
Well, she
You
can
don't
read
have-
your statement then.
You can come up, man, and you can talk for 5 minutes.
I better never see that again at another meeting.
The only person it was, we gave,
You've allowed it.
yeah, to Donna Schneider.
Rude again. Thank you, Peggy.
Do you want my name?
Please.
Margaret Taylor, 1016 Deerhaven Terrace. Make no mistake, to build 2 more warehouses on the mall property and the farmland behind was the only option ever considered. The process has been deceptive, lacks transparency, and has not been conducted openly with public input. These plans were in the making well before any redevelopment plan was made. Redevelopment plan was just the vehicle that made it all possible and justified the town's desire for more warehouses. This decision to build more warehouses in this area is at the sole discretion of our council, and they will end it today, but won't. Instead, they will move forward with plans that directly impact the public safety of the citizens in this town. We do not have the current infrastructure for more warehouses, and you have said before, DJDOT and the county are years behind in projects to redesign safe intersections and roads. So why are you creating more safety issues for our citizens? Your decision to build more warehouses is reckless and irresponsible. The consequences of the onslaught of trucks brought into our neighborhoods by the overdevelopment of warehouses is all on you. More warehouses bring more illegal truck parking that we can't seem to rectify on our own. It has been an issue for well over a year with no resolution in sight. Trucks barrel down Red School and Belvedere Road, knocking down trees while children walk to school. What will it take for you to get it? Truck cabs are being parked in neighborhood driveways, like on Strikers and Kyle Drive. Police being overburdened with enforcement of truck issues. Truck parking on lots on Bellevue Road next to Lopatcong Creek, where trucks cross a small stone bridge on Bellevue to put into the lot. Trucks driving on our weight-restricted neighborhood roads like Red School Lane, Bellevue, parts of Strikers and Belvedere Road, and I'll add Overlook Drive. Crime is being brought into our neighborhoods. Increase in pollution and garbage throughout town. What is the council's plans for better enforcement of illegal truck parking lots and other truck violations, like the trucks parked in a lot on Bellevue? Are we going to wait years for court dates? There are aerial views that show dozens of trucks parked on that lot. How do you think they got there? They drive down a weight-restricted road with a sign stating "Kids at Play" and a small stone bridge over Lopatcong Creek, not designed for trucks' weight. What will it take for you to get it and stop approving more warehouses? Will it take a tragedy for you to open your eyes to what you have invited into our town? Stop the development of warehouses, new warehouses at the mall and the farmland behind it. Take back control of our town and protect its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Harv?
Harley Walter, 325 South 3rd Street. Maybe it was explained before, but can someone tell me what a cap bank is?
Yeah, that's, the state limits you to how much you can raise your budget each year. So what happens is you can bank that cap. So for instance, and I don't quote me on the numbers, but say the limit's 2%. So if you came in with only a 1.5% increase, you could bank that extra 0.5% for the next 2 years, I think it is. So, and what it's meant to do is so that, you know, municipalities didn't just automatically go to the limit, so that they didn't reduce the size of the budget. So that's basically what it is. So you can cap, you can bank what you don't use under the cap, and then you can use it in subsequent years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. John?
John Betts, Brakely Gardens, Red School Lane. Bill, right, you started to bring up at one point some kind of a study being possibly going to start for a road, for connecting the road between Strikers and 22 or across the way. Has anything come of that?
We're in talks with DOT. I don't think we've heard anything more, have we?
Yes, there's a concept that's been put together. We're talking with DOT about that concept and how, or if they might be able to fund that concept to allow for the construction of the road.
Okay, all
There'll
right,
be more details coming out in
okay.
meetings in the future, so.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Council.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Bob Bruce, 11 Harwich Road. May you address some of the things. Mr. Wright, you addressed specifically Bellevue.
Can you remove your mask? You sound very muffled.
I'll speak louder for you, sir.
Because you sound muffled.
I won't remove my mask. I'm compromised. Thank you. Where was I before I got rudely interrupted?
Right where you're standing.
Insults too, huh? Okay. So back to Bellevue Road. I understand the zoning officer and the police chief issued 4 summonses?
Zoning officer, yes.
Okay. Were they for what? Were they for a legal truck lot? Legal truck parking?
Yes,
Okay. Because there's aerial
there's all
foot.
kind of stuff they were given summons for. Not to cut your time off, but yeah, a lot.
I imagine, you go to Google Earth on that property, going back to 2005, there's nothing there. That is a dozen trucks. I don't believe that they're doing anything other than making that available as an illegal truck lot.
I agree with you.
Okay, that's good. We're on the same page now. Again, you issued some of the things. The last public information meeting on the 21st, the planners stated that after completing the information meetings, and one is scheduled for March 6th, each town council will hold a public hearing before they send a request for the Highland Center designation. Do we know when Lopatcong's public hearing will be scheduled?
No, we do not at this point. To be quite honest with you, I personally would rather have a joint meeting and get everybody in the same area.
Before it goes to the Highlands Council?
Whatever we need to do legally, we'll do, sir.
Okay.
But that's, my hope would be to have a joint meeting. I don't even know if we can do that, but that's my
Okay.
hope.
Again, it was just because it was stated that you would do that, and I hope that would be publicly advertised. And, well, when I say that, I'm kind of like, again, thank you for the website information. I haven't looked at the new website. Kind of ties into the email notifications and the whole egg hunts and stuff like that. I think anybody signing up for these email updates, that should be on the list to let them know. I have the issue answer from the zoning officer. Perhaps that's why you know about what's going on at Bellevue. John Ketchison, who can't be here tonight, kind of speaking in his presence. Zoning officer said, yes, summonses have been issued. There is a court trial pending, blah, blah. He has at the end a signature for an email. We're all familiar with what a signature in an email is, the end of the email. So he refers to the broken window theory. I don't think I need to explain that. I think we all know the broken window theory of policing. And I want to go back to April 6th, 2022. I mentioned I had phoned Greenwich about a tractor trailer that was parked at the canal parking lot. Police came out, councilman from Greenwich got involved, put up signs. That was the end of that. I said, I don't want to burden the Lopat police for similar illegal truck activity, and I was informed by this council and our police chief that that's okay. Call them. If you see illegal stuff, call them. Well, that's where we kind of stand here. My suggestion was not to let this be officer discretion on ticketing, but officer obligation on ticketing. If we let this town be known, if you let truckers know that if you do a violation, you're going to get a ticket, maybe you don't have to do so many stops because they'll avoid it. So I've heard the council say that it's an enforcement issue. All we got is the Lopat police is the enforcement.
Bob, I will tell you this, I will make one comment, and the chief can back me up on this. Well over a year ago, I told him that if this township for trucks becomes known like Frenchtown is, that's fine with me. If the truckers get it, that they don't want to go through Lopat, that's fine with me. Because when you go through Frenchtown, you better be doing 25 going through there. They're known for that. I think that's pretty well known in this area. And I said the same thing to the chief. Get on the trucks, they can't be parked there all day long. But if word will get out, don't go through Lopat.
They got 10 minutes on the side of the road for an emergency before they gotta, not just flashes,
Right.
they gotta pull signs out, they gotta make it a safe zone with warning signs. They don't do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else, questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
All right.